Remember the Forgotten.
Chapter 27. An Open Mind. Zircon puffed and panted as he sprinted through the woods, immediately throwing away the purse of money and letting it pour the bright coins out onto the forest floor. The moonlight barely pierced the dense foliage, leaving him narrowly dodging pitch-black tree trunks and hanging branches, all threatening to topple him. Every few feet, he took a panicked look behind him, his teeth gritted and eyes wide in fear. He saw only darkness and the distant lights of the campfire. He could still hear the creatures, however, and he knew it was only a matter of time before he could see them all too well. He ran ahead still, boots scraping through the dry leaves, coating the ground and kicking up splatters of coarse earth that quickly fell behind him. He ran and he ran, cold, dark and exhausted, but eventually he got where he was headed. He slid to a stop, dropped to his knees and frantically opened the small wooden chest that sat on the ground in front of him beside a perfectly shaped hole dug only earlier that day. Pulling out the shining red eye from his cloak pocket, he moved his shaking hand just in front of his face to look right into its centre. As the sounds of stampeding feet and the shrieks of the demonic creatures grew closer and closer, he planted a new memory in the eye. A thought to himself, now, to give to another. Samuel, he thought. I don't know when, but I know that you'll eventually find this. You won't remember who I am, but that doesn't matter now. Lost in the eye's magic, as his internal monologue spoke, Zircon could no longer hear the creatures growing closer behind him. Still, he went as quickly as he was able. I have a plan, his mind continued, and only you can execute it. Jade thinks the eye is full of memories and that it can protect her from the forgotten, but I'm going to make sure that that is not the case. I'm going to make sure this eye is empty, and that's how you can defeat her. Just make sure she doesn't realise until it's too late. You'll have to fool her, stall her, maybe even fight her, but whatever you do, I know that you are capable of succeeding. Not the you that used to be, and not the you that's scribed into the pages of that book, but the you that you are now. That's the only you that matters. Zircon focused, swimming through the black void of the eye's magic and sensing each and every other memory in there. He moved away from the one he had just placed and began to think of another one. No, think was the wrong word. He let it flow from him, freer than he had ever been. If you manage to save the world, please deliver this memory to a woman named Aurora. Even within this void resulting from his mind and the eye intertwining, he could feel his true body take a deep breath. Aurora, I'm sorry. I had to make it look real, or I wouldn't have been able to get away. I know you probably won't ever forgive me, but know that the few days I got to spend with you as someone else, someone worthy of your affection, they were the best days of my life. I love you, Aurora. Zircon's heart began to race, and he snapped out of his trance, back into the darkness of the forest, back into the grim night. With his final thoughts safely stored, he clenched his jaw and pressed his eyes shut in preparation for what came next. When he opened his eyes again, he too opened his mind and allowed all of the memories lying dormant within the eye to take place alongside his own. A flash of red, and then he was back. The first thing he felt was immense pain, as if his head was being pressed by a million vices, inside and out. The next thing he felt was not his own. He felt the grief, the joy, the fear from the lives of an uncountable number of people. Their memories became his own, merging together to create a long timeline of events that not even the greatest scholar could hope to make sense of. As his body burned, he fought through the pain and focused on a particular set of memories, the ones he called his own. He focused on Aurora, on Samuel, and what he had to do. He threw the eye down in the box, nearly missing it as his body began to shake even more fervently. He slammed the lid shut and pushed the box back into the hole, quickly beginning to shovel dirt in from the sides to cover it entirely. Then he stood up, focused all the adrenaline he had left into stamping the soil flat on top of it, and turned his head behind him. He regretted it immediately. He did not care to think, to look, or even to feel. Now only one thought went through his mind. Run. He ran, and he ran, away from where the box was buried, away from the campsite and from the road. He ran and ran, until he knew the army of creatures behind him would not remember the path he had tread. With every step, every breath, he weakened. With every look, every thought, his mind further crumbled. The shake in his body seemed to encompass him, reaching into his brain until his mind's eye was just as blurry and unfocused as his true one's. The pain grew unimaginable, until, eventually, he slowed down. It was not a willing choice. By then, there was nothing left of him anymore to will. He slowed to a stop, falling forward onto his knees as the last vestige of who he was left him. He could not feel any more. Truly, as the monsters surrounded him and tore his flesh apart with their horrid claws, the body of Zircon had no life left to take.